Here is Kaz at Terra, and this is in the 4-star. So just getting ready to come in and trying to get him a little settled here. So I like to do a couple of transitions. I walk in pretty relaxed with him on a long rein and then pick him up and then do our circle. And now each horse, it depends on which lead they are stronger. I prefer for him his left lead to go in. We're going down the center line and supposed to halt at I. Staying pretty straight, and then as we come into the halt, I get a little bit of a drift right, but the halt is getting better. And a good strike off. And now we go directly into shoulder in, and then from shoulder in, which is from M to B, we then do a medium trot. B to K, which I was a little slow in developing the medium trot. I think he's a little bit like, wait a minute, we're supposed to do shoulder in down the long side. So again, F to B, shoulder in, and then we do B to H, medium, and again, I can probably tighten those up a little bit better. And getting him straighter a little quicker, and then working on getting the bend through the corner. And again, I needed to get a little bit better bend through the corner there. And then across the diagonal for the extended trot. I have some good steps, but I need to maintain it a little bit better. But overall, as this is going along, I'm pretty pleased with the rideability of him so far. And then we go into our half pass. Half pass left tends to be a little bit better for him, but he's still developing strength and suppleness and bending around the rib cage. See, we struggle just a smidge going to the right and getting that lateral suppleness both ways. Now into our walk. And we have our walk pirouette to the left. So you want to have the steps keep moving, kind of steps a little wide here. He's very funny because he can ride very forward, and then as you go into a movement, he'll kind of back off and suck back. So it's a matter of keeping him kind of on my aids. That to the right was better. And also what you guys can't see, you see he's shaking his head a little bit. There were the little teeny cow flies that get on their neck. I tried to knock one off, but it was sitting just behind his ears. So he's being a good boy so far. Working on the extended walk. Could have a little bit more relaxation, but sometimes for him, especially in the beginning of the season, the walk work can be a little bit tight for him because he anticipates, but as we go on through the season, it gets better and better. Now preparing for the transition into canter, and he just got a little expressive. Probably got that fly off, but you know, we really didn't need to do that, Cass. Into the medium canter. And then coming back. That was fine, but again, he has a very expressive one. It's just a matter of kind of keeping it all together. So then into our half pass, which I've been pretty happy with how his half passes have been coming along. He's staying much more relaxed. If anything, we've been working on trying to keep him up a little bit. And then into our change. I was actually quite thrilled with that change because that's the right to left, which is his weaker one. But again, working on having his nose a little bit up and out. And now canter half pass to the left. Could maybe have a little bit more bend around my leg. is what the judges like to see. And I'm maybe a hair off the center line. So all those kind of little things kind of can take the point away. So then that change, it was a little together, but still changes have been a little weak for him, but they're getting better and better. So now coming down the final center line and into our final halt. So minus that little blow up into the canter, I was quite happy with his test. We ended up scoring a 36.9, which kind of put us in the middle of the pack. It was a fairly big class, but so it goes. And now on to show jumping, which was at the end of the day. I believe this was like at 6:15. So, and this can always prove to be a little bit of a tough show jump in this smaller ring. So he comes and we jump the first line very nicely. And you'll notice the little white strip on his nose is his flare strip, which can help with intake and oxygen. And then I was able to, in that line, kind of settle him and get in nice and close. Sometimes he can be a little tricky because he can be strong, but then he listens. So coming into this triple, jumped really well, but this was a really steady 5, and I really had to hold him kind of back off of that there. And then this next line was a going 4 to verticals, but I did a double add here. But I was able to kind of get the 4, and then continuing through the line here to this next pinstripe boxer, which he jumps great. So I'm coming down the last line, and I was kicking myself for this because I ended up doing a double add to that. So I should have kept coming through the turn because in doing so, in adding, I made the one stride a little long and we had one rail, so that was unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. So now on to cross country. You see Kaz is up and ready to go, and just really out to work on going forward and having a nice ride. So first jump was very good. You'll see heading to the second fence. Again, the first couple of fences, you're just really trying to get into a nice rhythm and have your horse coming along. So now this is near kind of the end of the course, and we're coming up to these 2 sets of angles that were set on a longer one stride. And this actually worked out pretty nicely for him, held the line very good. And we had several other corner combinations kind of in the beginning, and he was very good through those, so I was feeling pretty good here and really happy with how his gallop is coming. And my dad was videoing from the golf cart, so we got some pretty cool footage. And here I had to steady up pretty good here for this one, just to make sure we stay in the balance. And now we're getting into kind of like the final combinations on the course. He did this beautifully. And now preparing for, I have a table and then the mound, the corner combination. So this combination, I had the plan of doing 4 because I thought for sure he kind of would take me down the hill to that corner. But I find a nice shot in, and we kind of steady, and I just sat there, and it put us on the decrease to it. So we're going to see this again. So I think if I was more positive, he would have just held the line on the 4. But something we've got to work on. And then I chose to kind of jump the corner again, which kind of made that line harder because of where the angle. But I thought it was a good schooling opportunity. That was a mistake, and it's something we got to work on. But he finished up really well, and you can see this really cool slow-mo of him just easily jumping this table. You can see the mem clips there, which is great. So we finished up 39th out of the 60 horse class.